Remember when this was the best delivery method for music? Remember when this was the best delivery method for supplements? Every industry evolves and improves with new breakthroughs in science and technology. Here at Numi, we've used a proprietary technology to solve an issue that's been around since nutritional supplementation began: the problem of absorption. So many of today's supplements are less effective due to their inability to be absorbed naturally by the body. Using our own proprietary Hydrostat Nano Delivery breakthrough, we reduce the particle size of critical nutrients smaller than ever before, allowing them to absorb in your mouth while swishing for 30 seconds or more. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It's responsible for boosting your energy, detoxifying cells, reducing inflammation, and boosting the immune system. If glutathione is so amazing, why have you never heard of it? Because glutathione is extremely fragile, and if taken orally, it will be destroyed via the digestive process, rendering it virtually useless to the body. Until now, NutraSwish applies nanotechnology to achieve maximum absorption. Now, glutathione and other nutrients can be absorbed simply and quickly by swishing in the mouth instead of being destroyed in the stomach. Using this same nanotechnology, we've created the ultimate skincare product, Numi Skin. We've been able to achieve unparalleled absorption for key ingredients, including collagen, hyaluronic acid, and more. Some of the top skin experts in the world work together to create the ultimate blend of skin-enhancing nanonutrients, creating the most amazing before and after results. With our nano solution, you no longer have to wait months to experience the effects of skincare and supplementation. Our customers are noticing a difference within a matter of days. Don't wait to look, feel, and live your best life. A new you starts with Numi.
Hi, welcome back to another Dr. Shante video. This video is basically sharing what I do for general health maintenance. Well, in addition to just eating healthy, I take supplements. I take them habitually. The first supplement on the list is a multivitamin. A good multivitamin from A to zinc. That is what I take. I take it in the form of a hair, skin, and nail vitamin, but a multivitamin is suffice. The next thing is I take omega-3. I don't do the fish oil cap. I do this in a liquid because this is one of the 3 macronutrients that we need, right? We need carbohydrates, proteins, fatty acids. Okay, that's how I do that. In addition to taking a probiotic, I take prebiotics. I may take the prebiotics more frequently than the probiotics, and I can go over later the why to that. And I also take digestive enzymes. Those are the main things I take. Additional supplements that I take a superfood powder, and I have this much of water inside of the bottle before I put like 1 or 2 teaspoons of that powder in there. I'll make a separate video talking about it because it has so much benefit, but this is also something that I use on a daily basis. The definition of a holistic view is that all aspects of people's needs, psychological, physical, and social, should be taken into account and seen as a whole. Holistic relationships is leading the charge and sparking real conversations that transcend the ordinary, aiming not only to explore life's intricate facets, but also to inspire positive change and cultivate better approaches to every topic we touch. In the realm of love and relationships, marriage and divorce, parenting struggles and single parenting triumphs, toxic relationships, and the liberating journey out of codependency, our goal is crystal clear. We are architects of change, crafting blueprints for better, more holistic relationships that stand the test of time. This isn't just a show or podcast. It is a movement. Each show is an invitation to recalibrate one's perspective, to rethink conventional norms, and to embark on a journey towards a more fulfilling life. From the nuanced dance of co-parenting to the empowering pursuit of self-confidence, we are here to guide you towards positive transformation, empowerment of self and others, setting goals, building legacies, and collecting fortune with purpose. Holistic relationships is more than a show, it's a philosophy. We navigate the complex terrain of aging gracefully and achieving optimal health and weight loss, shedding light on compatibility in relationships, and imparting wisdom on the art of dating and courtship. Join us as we forge a community committed to positive change, where every conversation is a catalyst for growth, every revelation is a step towards understanding, and every piece of advice is a key to unlocking a more holistic and fulfilling life. Welcome to Holistic Relationships, where the pursuit of better, more meaningful connections begin, and positive change is not just encouraged, but celebrated. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this Holistic Relationship Show. This topic is on children. Teach them early. Teach them early. This week I was getting my son's clothes together to wash them. And it was then when I said, I'm going to graduate him up to washing his own clothes, separating them. And yesterday he said to me, like, now I want to learn how to put laundry detergent inside of the little tubes, inside of the places. He wants to do that. So he's done the separating and putting them into the washer, taking them out the dryer, etc. But now he wants to measure off that part. So this is why we're having this conversation with people, especially for those parents who are like me, who's like an over nurturing parent, because you're like, that's my baby, not the parents that's lazy in the sense, and I don't necessarily want to call people that, but just where they always have their kids doing everything, right? Go get this, go get that, go to this. Really, I'm talking to the parents who are the ones who are doing everything for them, where you're being extra nurturing, right? Especially if you're doing it to the point where you're doing it everything. This show is for you. Teach them early. You're still there doing it with them, but it doesn't hurt to let them do it themselves for a day. I mean, everything is a learned behavior anyway, so we have to teach them. And one of the things that I'm learning is to let my son go on and do some things for himself, especially when they're at this inquisitive age where they want to learn how to do everything. He wanted to learn how to wash dishes. And I let him, I was concerned because I'm a germaphobe and I'm over here worried about if he's going to do it right and they're going to get clean. But I said, well, you know what? Let's start with cups and then move to silverware, bowls, and then plates. So that he can learn how to wash dishes. I mean, he's using them at an exponential rate because he's a growing boy. He's eating and drinking all the time. And I do want to be able to teach him how to do this. And that's what we're seeking in parenthood. When we have these children, we want to make sure that they're safe, make sure that they're well, that they're growing up, and that learning, and that we're equipping them with the tools that they're going to need to be able to take care of themselves one day. You know, my mom would always say to me, teach them early. Teach them early, because I remember growing up on Sunday mornings when my mother would put on them dusty, the old school music. Me and my sister, we in that bed sleep. We would hear that music like, I gotta get up because we have to start cleaning. So we had to do our parts, cleaning up from under our beds, getting our clothes together, making sure they were put away. Even if they were dirty, just putting them in a hamper so that we could just put them to the side for laundry day. One of the things that my son is fortunate to have is that we have an indoor, in-house, in-unit washer and dryer. He had no idea what I had to go through as a child on laundry day. We had to pack up all them clothes inside of this cart. We didn't have no car. We had to walk to the laundromat, okay, rain, sleet, snow, okay, and get those clothes clean. That was life. Going to that laundromat. Oh, man. And being in that laundromat, at least he can go on back in his room and watch TV or play his game and wait for the little chime thing to start singing. We just had to sit there and look at it just spin around, and we have devices and things to occupy our time and attention, and we didn't take books, you know. And then we had to pack everything back up, put everything back into the car, and take it all the way back home, depending on where you were or where your home was in vicinity of that laundromat. That's what it was like for me. Yeah, it was something else. I think of it now and I'd be like, whew, I'm so glad that this is a breeze. My challenge for laundry now is putting it away once it's clean. I have clean clothes that's in hampers, separated where they're supposed to go, as I still got a little bit of OCD. But now I have him doing that as well. Putting the clothes together, putting them away. But now he's gotten older. We can keep the house cleaner together. He wasn't conscious of this as a baby. And maybe I could have started a little earlier in getting him, you know, but he was my only surviving child. So I was a little bit more motherly to him because of that, because of my particular challenges during my childbearing years. So I have to take that into account that, hey, yes, you know, you want to be able to take care of him, but taking care of him is also helping him learn how to do some things for himself. There are many things that you know. And one of the things that I want to give a little bit of the credit of my son getting a little independent. I do credit me letting go and letting him be able to do on his own, a little teensy bit of credit to his father, because it was him. And again, I think he just didn't want to do most of the stuff that I was doing, lazy in that sense. Wasn't around him that much in those formative years to nurture him. So now he gets a full-blown 6-year-old and he's looking at the situation. And of course, I'm making this up. This is just me speculating, but I do know him. And then I'll be like, why you can't just do that? I did it. But he looking at him like, he can get a job, too. And so he can do this. And then for a very short period of time that when he was with his father, and I would visit and I was around and watching his interaction and how he was raising. And see, ladies, and this is something, I am not friends with that child's father. That's a whole other story. But I will tell you, despite my personal feelings, when I was in that man's house and observing it with the exchange and the interaction between him and the father, I did not refute, dispute, or anything. He would look to me and I would look to him. When in Rome, just like when my father told me, when in Rome, do what Romans do. And that was simply meaning when you're in another person's house, just roll with it. And regardless of that, you have to be respectful of their rules, okay? Regardless. Now, that rule that I learned from my father about, being a Roman, it made me a homebody, because I'm like, look, I ain't finna be going to all these people's houses and doing all this other stuff. I want to be able to, if I can't do what I want to do, I'll just be able to stay at home and do what I want to do. So that's why I didn't just go to people's houses. I just stay home, because I already know my mama let me do this, so I'm gonna stay here. I made it real simple. Rather than complaining about what other people did what they wanted me to do in their house, I just didn't go to their house. Simple solution. I was much happier, much more content, because I was able to do what I wanted to do. And my place of comfort, and I already knew the do's and don'ts in my mama house, she gave me a little bit more leniency than in some other places. And I wasn't doing a whole lot, and I wasn't a bad child anyway. But I still appreciated being able to do what I wanted to do. But anyway, I never got in the way of his rules and what those rules were. And when I looked at him and I observed him and I was watching him with him, I don't care how long this is going to last to work out, because the minute I don't like something, I see this is a wrap. I'm about this, because we ain't going to traumatize my child at the same time. And yes, it is both for our children. You may hear me, and just a point of clarity. You may hear me say, my son, my child, and I am clear that it took both of us to create him. Okay, it's just an unscripted show now, so from time to time it may slip out. You may, ladies and gentlemen, you may hear me say something, and I'm not apologizing for it, because I mean what I say. But what I'm saying, point of clarity. Record, if it comes out a certain way, please know that's the reaction to something that didn't happen, that we're not going to get into here, but it is something that has happened that has now given me this disposition, because I did not go in feeling this kind of way. Despite what most men, or I got a guy that used to always say, he used to think it was me. He used to think that I was bitter or upset about, but the more he was around me and got to know me, he was like, oh, no, that's this one. That mofo is a homegrown terror. So if I say something, please do not take it as if I have this negative disposition on men or fathers or child parents. Women, please don't take it that way. I'm not a male batcher. No, that's not my belief system. Please take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because it's probably some residual of me saying something, and you guys are for a story or for context of a thing. You may hear say something and you go, ooh, did she just clap back? Did she just take a stab? Did she just take a jab at him? Probably so. But just know there's context to it. I don't plan on disclosing a whole lot of it. It's just there's context to it. If I say my child, there's context to it. Because some men and women, people will hear me say that, my child, and be like, oh, dang, she just got no respect for the father. It takes two of them to trust me, people. I know that already. I am saying my child for a dang reason. And I don't know, and I forgot that y'all don't really know all my struggles with court and all that with that. So if I say my child, just another thing to take with a grain of salt. Give her a pass. Okay, and that may have to be a whole nother holistic relationship show itself. So again, when I said, please take it with a grain of salt. I know that that's about, but there means if I make that statement, there's context. I want you guys to know that I'm in full transparency mode anyway. Just know that you know this from jump. There's context. So if you hear something that sounds male bashing, there's context. There's a reason. So you're gonna be like, ooh, why she say it like that? Try not to read too much into it, okay? Just remember that word, context. And there's a whole 6-7 year story. And now I feel like I've been in one of the longest divorces in the histories of divorces, okay? Because it feels like every time that fool drags me back to court, it's just a continuation of a long divorce, because it's not even me filing motion. It's me responding to all of that. But nonetheless, one of the things that I did love, that I picked up, is that he was right. He was right. And sometimes and I hope, and sometimes ladies, having that male role model, father figure in their lives, you may not always agree with their parenting styles because it's not yours. Because it's your baby, right? So you may not always agree. Or how they may approach something, or you may not agree with that. But when I took a step back and just watched, just to see what the outcome would be, I saw my son rise to the occasion. He rose to the challenge. And it was an eye-opener for me. As much hell as I could say I could be through when it comes to that, if he was to add any benefit, that little piece that I will give them, even if the motive behind it was I was just too lazy and I don't want to do it, but it did allow me to do. Now it said, okay, you are going to have to. So now you're going to have to start showing him what to do. You're probably going to do it another year, but he can start now. He can handle it. Again, I probably know why he was doing it. Most men, when they realize what you really have to do when you're the primary caretaker, because there are men, and I know men that have been the primary caretaker. They've been single dads. They know what I'm talking about. So I know I'm preaching to the choir with them. But the vast majority of men are not the primary caretakers, okay? They are the weekend parents or the monthly parents or the summertime parents. But the ones who were the primary caretakers, they get it. But the ones who don't, they don't necessarily get it. So when they have to do it and you have to drop it on them, and in the scenario that I'm giving, I gave an already made child that was already potty trained, that could talk, that could say, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, knew how to dress himself, knew how to make up his bed. Probably the only thing we hadn't done was tying shoes. And the reason that we hadn't done, tying shoes, because most of the shoes that we had up to his age group were the type of shoes where they snap, they had the Velcro, or it was a little pull strap or something real quick to put on.
he hadn't had that yet. So that was one of the things he did have to teach him. And he thought he was this dad of the millennial here. Because he had to teach him. No, sir. It's because our son is a taller guy, young man with bigger feet. And so he's outgrown what's in the age group. He probably would be still in a full snap of one of them girls because of his age. But because he's bigger now, he's in a boy's shoe, full boy's shoe, which means now that older boy, which you couldn't tell a narcissist anything. You can tell him that, but because he's smarter than everybody in the world. So anyway, what I'm saying, in teaching them early, you will be surprised that they are ready. This is the time that we need to do it. Not when they get older and start feeling themselves and smelling themselves and getting lazy and just want to do what they want to do. You want to instill this in them as early as you can. So the whole point of this telling you this story was to say, I was getting ready to do it. I would have done it a year later. But just in that dynamic, in that situation, I decided to go on and do it early. Or I was able to learn, he's not such your little baby, and you probably do need to stop babying him. Not saying that every mom is going to be like that. Every mom is going to be that way to their baby boy or to their son. Every mom is going to be like that. But some women have different, some women are more feminine and some are more masculine, just depending on who they are in their core character. So every woman that gives birth isn't going to be that extra feminine, nurturing type. That's not how that is. Just because they have the reproductive system and the physiology of a woman doesn't mean that they're going to be the type of mother that nurtures. Some women are high disciplinarians, and you don't see so much of the extra affection and nurturing and mothering, and you may not see that. So sometimes that is the case, and you may feel that love and nurturing spirit from the dad. So it really just depends on the people involved and who they are when it comes to that. But again, it let me know that my son was able to start a lot earlier than I had thought. I was still helping him and bathing him. He was like 5 or 7, and I was still helping him and bathing him. When he's 6, and then when we went with Dad for a brief period of time, Dad was like, okay. He said, we got in the shower, and I showed him, do what I do. And that's a paraphrasing of that. And from there, he's watching himself up. After that, I told him, go in the shower. Next day, you go. And I said, you're not going to go with him again? He's like, no, shut up. Are you good? But I was like, he was like, he had a moment where he did this. He said, let me do it. And I was like, and we stood there. So it's hard, moms, with your boys, your babies. But that dad, sometimes having that man is bigger than he like, nah, let that do that. That he can do it. I ain't gonna wipe his butt. No, you may have done that, but I'm gonna. He about to do it. And I was like, but what if he gets on here? He was like, well, if he don't want the ish on his hand, then you have to learn how to do it right. He did. It's hard. So I say that to say too, and this is another show, that balance. I'm not saying, ladies, that we're not capable of it, but men know their experience in the world versus ours, for the most part. And this isn't to say that we're not intelligent enough to come to that conclusion one day. It's just that men that come to that conclusion a lot sooner than when it's new. They may be able to gauge that faster than us. That's what's going to happen, or it could happen. And that's when I got to my conclusion, like, wow, I gotta let him start doing something. So when he came back home with me, I started giving him more things to do on his own. You gotta do it. So now he has full blown out chores. And there are some things I still do for him. I still go in from time to time and take care of my baby, but I do have to stop myself and say, no, he has to do this. I'm not doing him any favors doing it for him. I can help him from time to time, but I do need to pass this on to him. So cleaning himself and all of this stuff, that's his job. It's been that way for a year or so now. I ain't going behind checking to see. Nope, that's on you. That's it. Yep, I had to stop it last year, so he'll be 8 this year. So the year of 7, when he turned 7. I started teaching him things. There is still oversight. Just now giving him more freedom, So when in case of laundry, knowing, hey, when it's time to get that laundry done, what are you supposed to do? When it's time to clean up your room, what does that look like? How much water should you be drinking every day? Did you put your water in your book bag? Did you fill up your water bottle? Did you clean it and put it back in it? If you don't put it in there, then somebody ain't gonna have water for the day. That's hard love. When he forget, I used to always go and get him and put his gloves in his pocket or make sure he had everything he needed because I love my baby. I'm just that nurturing mother. I'm a nurturer. I take care of people. You know that saying, this gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you? I've had to experience that on several fronts, and not just when it was time for me to stay. And my son's pretty obedient. He realized that, Mom can get a little cray. So I'm just gonna go over here and do my own thing. So he's real easy going. He just want to play. He just want to play, do his own thing, eat, be good. So I don't really have a problem at all. And he knows. Yeah. Well, I tell you, it is a joy. It's this whole learning thing, because we learning as parents too. It's not just them learning in this; they learn it. Those sayings, this gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. And I used to be like, what? That don't even make no sense. Oh, and I'm gonna show you better I can tell you. Yeah. So when he's finished chores, he knows that day of the week that he gotta do. And you know what that's done? It's taking a little bit off of me and teaching him and letting him be independent. Because that's how it's gonna have to be. He's a future provider. He's a future head of household. He's a future father and teacher. And so, yes, let me instill in him what he needs to know and let him do it himself so that he can show his children how to do things themselves. It ain't going to be just their mother that's going to be teaching them. He's going to be to teach them as well. Yes. And learn how to take care of people too. So it's going to be a good head of household, as I hope. But again, as I was saying, teach them early. When their minds are so inquisitive, their minds are like sponges. It soaks up so much information. And sometimes we can hold them back as parents because we're figuring they're too young, and I'll teach them when they're older. When they're older, they got an opinion. They got an opinion when they're older. And this is not up for debate. So we teach them now. And then at least now, this way, by the time they get there, they know what they're supposed to be doing and how to do it properly or what you expect from them. I know a family where they was doing everything. As a family through my mutual acquaintance, they was doing everything for these young ladies. And then a grandmother had taken in one of the granddaughters of a teenager. And I'm talking to them, and she didn't know how to do this, and she didn't know that. And I said, well, are you really going to condemn her for not knowing how to do something because her parent didn't teach her how to do it. She just didn't know how to do it. And wouldn't have thought about it. This is now a teachable moment. Teach them how to do it. Show them to do what you expect them to do and how to mimic it. All it means is that because they're older, they'll catch on faster. You may have a little bit more resistance and more lip with it, but they're old enough, they know how to do it, they'll do it faster. And then also when teaching people how to do something, telling them the importance of, when I used to train pharmacy technicians in the pharmacy, even one time it was just a student, I was able to train him the whole system, Intercom Plus, in the whole day. He was eager to learn and I didn't hold back. I just showed them everything, okay? And let them just reach to greatness. Don't hold them back, and he wasn't even an employee. And he learned in one day how to do things that took most of us years to learn. Now, of course, he didn't know everything. He can assist us in certain areas, but yes. When I used to train technicians and how to do things, I didn't tell them that you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. I didn't just tell them what to do. I told them why it was important to do it. That made it stick. Made all the difference because they knew why they were doing it. I told them the implications that if you didn't do this step, what could go wrong, how that can impact someone's lives, how it can impact you, how it can impact the whole team. And it's important that they remember to do this. Let me tell you, when you train that way, you get better subordinates. Because now you can, in some level, trust that they're going to do the right thing. I mean, I don't think people just want to come in and become terrible workers. I think they kind of morph into being bad workers over time because of unfair treatment, injustice, other kinds of workplace politics that plays a factor in that. But when you're telling them the importance, and so when I'm teaching my son things, I tell him the importance of it. Why are we separating the whites from the colors? Well, son, the reason we're separating the whites from the colors is because we are going to use a whitening agent. We might use one to help clean those whites. And if that agent is there and you got a color in there, you can tint your clothes. So I don't use bleach a whole lot like that. Sometimes I try to use organic alternatives for whitening things. But sometimes there are accidents and things that cause for the bleach. So I still have it on hand, but I do try to use organic alternatives to it. I just have an integrative mindset with that to have both, because I don't always want to use harsh chemicals on the clothes. But I do explain to him that we're using a whitening agent in the whites and that you want to make sure that you don't have a color in it, because if you do, it's going to change your colors. Your whites are going to change. If you leave a red sock in with your whites, then your whites are going to turn pink. That's what could happen. So now he knows through, of course, what I've told him, that those are things that can happen, and maybe gave some other examples with different colors and and that way you can keep your white t-shirts and socks white. Keep them as white and not dingy white, but as white as you can. But I don't really buy him white underwear. Not for the little boys. No, I don't think that's really good, especially during potty training years. So we're not doing that because sometimes they have little stains in the front from not being on themselves, but from maybe they didn't wait for every drip to come out when they didn't remember to shake or whatever, and then they're putting themselves back together, and then you notice that there's a little tinge of yellow that depending on how much water they was drinking and how highly concentrated the stain will be. So yeah, I don't buy white underwear for that reason, and also because of the flips on. If they don't wipe good in the back, and that even applies to adults, and but so. He's like me in a way where we're not going to do poo in public. The only time that does really happen in a public place, the only time that does really happen is if something that was going on with the system and it forced it to happen. And I couldn't hold it or something. But we pull at home for the most part. And I'm finding, that he does it too. Because I asked him, did you have a bowel movement in school? And he'll be like, no, but he'll do it at home. And so I go, okay, you're kind of like me in that sense. You don't want to do poo in public. So he's uncomfortable with that. It's kind of embarrassing to us, even though it's something that's a natural, needed, and necessary action that needs to happen. And we want to make sure that we're doing it daily. So, even though it's the case, it's a little bit embarrassing, especially for little kids and immature people. So anyway, he's learning, and I'm just explaining why to him. So that's been helpful. So whenever he's learning how to do stuff, he knows the why, and he's really asking, I tell him about not leaving a towel on the shower floor. And when you're done showering, you drop the towel and you left it there. Well, we did an experiment. I took some water, maybe something that was a dirty pot or something where I cleaned it. No, it was already dirty. I was cleaning out what was in there, and I put soap on it, and I let it sit there for like a day and a half, a couple days. And then I showed him what it turned as. You see that? He said, yeah. I say, every time you leave something like that, balled up when the water, that's what's happening in the inside of that towel. Do you want to put that towel back on your body like that? And he went, no. Okay, well then remember to wring it out and then hang it so they can air dry. That's why I want you to do that. So a lot of times I'm teaching and showing him why he's doing what he's doing. I have to give a little experiment what that consequence could possibly be when he doesn't do it. Yeah. So he had a situation where he put something colorful in some whites, and he saw it. Then she saw it. Now he knows. Hey, he didn't put those gloves in the pocket like the way I kept telling him. Like I say, hey, make sure your gloves are in your pocket. He didn't do it. Guess what? We had some freezing temperatures at one. Somebody had to keep his hands in his pocket and realize that little gap of skin that was exposed to the air didn't feel good. I could have told him that he didn't do it, but I had to keep going to get him to school on time and let it happen. That's that. This is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you thing that we be talking about, that we talk about. So those are the things. That's what I got from teaching them early, starting early. And I'm not saying that 2 or 3 or 4, but 5 and 6 is a good age. Those are some good years to begin. If your child is already 7, 8, and you haven't begun doing those things, you're treading in troubled waters, because that child could be possibly resistant and can give you a hard time trying to do these things later. They'll be so much older, and that'll be too old to not know how to do it, and that's where you drop the ball, parents. So new parents out there, parents that are teach them young, start young. I'm not saying it too that they need to know how to do laundry. That's not what I'm saying. 5 and 6 is a good age. It's a good age. And give them a little chores. Mine started with a simple plastic bag for garbage. Tie it up and take it to the garbage room. Yeah. Simple things, not the full 13-gallon bag. I didn't give that to him. He would try to grab it sometimes, but he realized that he wasn't tall enough to put it into the chute. So he understands that he knows he got to get a little bigger for that. But he can still handle the plastic bags that he has. He understands the concept. So he knows that as he gets older, it'll be a bigger bag. Yeah. When parents, to start early. Start early. After they're potty trained, and some are going to be potty trained a lot earlier than others. That's why I say 5 to 6 is a good age to start implementing those chores. Things for them to learn how to do. Yep, and sometimes when he was with his dad and I would FaceTime down there and I see him over there cutting, about to make some dinner or something with his father. And I'm afraid about that knife, but he's teaching him. And as long as he's being supervised, we can always catch anything that's getting ready to happen. But I pull it on edge. But that's when you're involved in your kids' lives and you're making sure that they're learning what they're supposed to be learning. So, yeah. So that's it for this holistic relationship. Teach them early. Start early. Don't hold them back out of fear, over nurturing, or over motherly or fatherly, because some fathers are nurturers too. So you can teach them in stages. So that's that for today's holistic relationship show. As always, I welcome commentary. I welcome feedback. Please add to the conversation. We welcome that. Again, this platform, this ministry is all of us to come together, bounce ideas off of each other, because we're all in this thing we call life together. And I am just appreciative of those who support the show. I'm appreciative, of those who are engaged and that participate with holistic relationships. Really got some great topics that are coming through. I can't wait for you to just to come, be a part of other shows, our panelists that are coming within the next week or so. So we are excited about that and how the show is going to evolve. Again, I just can't say thank you enough. And that's it. The longest close that I've had since then. But again, I will see you in the next Holistic Relationships. Until next time.